Hey, we're back. It's Tuesday of Holy Week. On Sunday and Monday, we saw Jesus coming into Jerusalem, people declaring him as king. He cleared out the temple, and then the religious leaders were very unhappy with him. So, as I said, here we are at Tuesday, and we find Jesus in the temple and in and around Jerusalem, and he's interacting with those religious leaders, Pharisees, Sadducees, and they're actually asking him a lot of questions. And they want to hear what he has to say because they're trying to trip him up and see if he gives any answers that are against what God says or what they think God says. But Jesus is God, and he can only tell the truth. So all of his answers to their questions are just truth. So I feel like before we get into our story, we definitely need another egg, a clue from Mark. Hey Mark, we need our clue. Where are you, buddy? Oh, hey. Okay, what's that? Okay, he's saying something. Oh, right. Okay, I understand. Yes. So Mark says that because this is a New City Kids event, he's going to have to check in properly before we get our egg. Apparently, there's a special way that our egg is going to be delivered. So let's check Mark in to New City Kids, shall we? Okay, Mark, we're going to need your phone number. I'm going to need to get that phone number. Okay, let's see if this is working. Oh, oops, of course. If anybody knows, you all know, it works probably 50% of the time. So we're gonna have to check this out. Let me see, I'm gonna do this in here. Oh, perfect. Wait a second. Is this what you meant by our special way to get the egg? Well, this thing works a little bit better than I thought. All right, and here we have it, Mr. Mark. Okay, Mark, let's get you checked in properly. We'll put your label on you. Love it. All right, perfect. Let's go ahead and open this egg. I'm anxious to see what's inside. Here we go. Let's count down from 3 this time. Here we go. 3, 2. Oh, okay. Wow, this is a really bright piece of paper. Maybe there's a message on it. Let's see what we have. Aw, it's a huge heart. So I guess that this would mean that our story is going to be about love? Well, actually, that makes sense now because our key verse comes from Mark chapter 12 and verse 29. So let's read that verse and we'll get a clue as to what our story is about today from the heart and from the Bible verse. So here we go. And the scribes and the Pharisees came to him and asked him, those were the religious leaders, which commandment or God's rule is the most important of all? And Jesus answered, the most important is, hear, O Israel, the Lord your God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength. And the second is this, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. And there is no other commandment greater than these. Oh man, I love this. I love hearing about love, and just not any love, but God's true love, the kind of love that forgives, the kind of love that thinks the best about people, the kind of love that would give up something that you have for someone else and be happy about it, and the kind of love that never stops. So we have a special guest who's going to read our story to us today, and her name is Miss Michelle Jones. So that's the voice that you're going to hear, and she's going to read a very special book to us. We'll see you at story time.
Today we're going to be reading a story called God's Very Good Idea by Trillia Newborn. A true story about God's delightfully different family. In the beginning, in fact, before the beginning, God had a very good idea. It was an even better idea than solar panels from 1954. Even better than chocolate chip cookies that were from 1938. Even better than super soakers from 1982. Better than even color television from 1942. Better than fireworks from 700 BC. Better than roller skates from 1760. Better than life rafts from 1880. Better than the X-ray machine from 1895. God's idea was to make people, lots of different people who would all enjoy loving Him and all enjoy loving each other. They would all be made in His image. They would all be like mirrors reflecting what God is like. Because God is full of love, they would also be full of love too. So, God got to work. He made a beautiful world for people to live in. Then He made the first people, a man and a woman. And He said to them, "Be happy, enjoy loving me and loving each other. Have a huge family that will fill the earth and look after the earth and enjoy the earth." God carried on creating people. All of them were made in His image, and all of them were different too. Some were men, some were women, some liked reading, some liked riding bikes, some had darker skin and some had lighter skin, some had curly hair and some had straight hair. We live in God's world. We all are different, but we are all also the same. Everyone you see is different than you and same as you. They might look different or speak different or play different, but they are all made in God's image, and so they are all valuable. This is God's very good idea. But people ruin God's very good idea. The first people chose not to love God. This is called sin. And because they chose not to love God as they should, they forgot how to love each other as they should. We are the same. We chose not to love God, and so we are not able to love each other like we should. We sin. Sometimes we treat others badly because they are different than us. People fight with each other. People are mean to each other. People laugh at each other. Because we have ruined God's very good idea, He is not pleased with us. Our sin means we can't be friends with Him or enjoy living with Him. We need God's forgiveness for ruining his very good idea. It's the same for everyone in the world. People who like reading need forgiveness, and people who like riding bikes need forgiveness. People with darker skin need forgiveness, and people with lighter skin need forgiveness. People with curly hair need forgiveness, and people with straight hair need forgiveness. But God was not surprised by people ruining things. He had always had a very good plan to rescue his very good idea. So God got to work. He came to earth as a person, Jesus. Jesus loved people who were different than him. He loved people who no one else loved. He's telling this lady, your faith has made you well. And after healing this blind man, he says, I can see. He always enjoyed loving all the different people he met. Jesus shows us how to enjoy loving each other. But people didn't love Jesus. Instead, they hated him. They put him on the cross to die. But this was part of God's plan. On the cross, Jesus took our sin so that we can be forgiven. Jesus forgives his people for their sins. Jesus didn't stay dead. He rose back to life and then went back to live in heaven. And then he gave people his spirit to help them enjoy loving him and loving all the different people they know. Jesus helps us to love each other. One day, God will finish his very good idea. Jesus will come back and make the world perfect again. And anyone who has asked Jesus to forgive them will live there with their different languages and skin colors. They will enjoy loving God and loving each other. They will enjoy praising God for making, rescuing, and finishing his very good idea. But here's a very, very good part of God's very good idea. You don't have to wait till then to enjoy it. Jesus welcomes anyone who asks him to forgive them. And when Jesus welcomes someone, he welcomes them into his family forever. He welcomes people who like reading and people who like riding bikes. He welcomes people with darker skin and people with lighter skin. He welcomes people with curly hair and people with straight hair. God's family is called the church. Your church friends are your brothers and sisters. Your wonderful and colorful church family. You can enjoy loving them and loving God with them. This is God's very good idea. Lots of different people enjoying loving him and loving each other. God made it. People ruined it. He rescued it. He will finish it. And with your church family, you can enjoy being part of it right now. And that concludes the story of God's very good idea.
Hey there, let's add some more color to our resurrection garden. So I actually spun my pot around so you could see the back of it. Because my tomb is going to be in the front, I'm going to put some more flowers in the back. So I just have to clear some dirt right over here. I might have to clear a lot of dirt and then fill it back in. I'm going to add these purple and white flowers. Okay, yes, here we go. So here's one. We're going to give these guys a nice water once we get them all planted. Ooh, look at this one. I love that. I love those colors. This is wonderful. I'm so thankful that God created flowers and all the beautiful colors and types. Ooh, this is looking good. Okay, next, I'm just gonna put these, like, fill this whole back piece up with flowers. I'll put these guys in here. Okay, and then one more. Look at how many are on here. Four buds, and then I see a new one coming right there. I'm so excited. Okay, slip this in there. Now, once you get your flowers in, you might notice that there's spots. So I like to take some of my dirt that I moved away and kind of fill it in. This might be so messy. I'm doing this at my table, which is fine because I can clean it up, but definitely do it outside if there's a nice day, because then you'll have less to clean up. Okay, so then you fill that in. Do you see how nice that looks? So this will be the whole back side. And then when we take our next step, we'll put the tomb in with all of the rocks. It's gonna be great.